Everything you have been told about protecting your brain after 60 is not wrong. It is just incomplete in a way that might be costing you the very thing you are trying to protect. We are told to do the puzzles. Stay mentally active. Eat the blueberries. Take the lion's mane. Walk 10,000 steps. And if you still feel foggy, well, that is just the tax you pay for getting older. But if you are over 60 and you feel that specific quiet dread when a name vanishes off your tongue, or you walk into a room and the reason you went there is simply gone, you are not fighting a losing battle against time. You are fighting a mechanism, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what that mechanism is, why almost everything you have been told about brain health is pointing you in the wrong direction, and the 4 specific things you can do starting tomorrow to reverse it. Meet Miriam, 67 years old, retired librarian. She does the crossword every morning with her coffee, has for 20 years. She finishes it in 15 minutes now. She is proud of that. She should not be. Because the speed at which Miriam completes that puzzle is not a sign that her brain is getting stronger. It is a sign that the puzzle stopped being a brain exercise years ago. It became a ritual. And in neurology, a groove that gets too deep eventually becomes a grave. Miriam has also been following standard dietary advice for 30 years. Whole grains, small, frequent meals to keep her energy up, heart-healthy everything. And by 3 in the afternoon, she feels like a fog has settled over her thoughts. She assumes it is age. It is not age. It is 2 separate mechanisms working against her simultaneously. And almost no one is talking about both of them at once. I want to be upfront before we go further. I have a take on this that contradicts most of the senior wellness content you will find anywhere on this platform. I think the comfortable version of brain health advice, the puzzles, the gentle walks, the frequent small meals, is not malicious. It is just commercially convenient. And I have spent months going through the research on neuroplasticity and metabolic function in aging adults, trying to follow the evidence honestly. But you should know where I am standing. I believe comfort is the primary enemy of the aging brain. And I believe the food industry has a vested interest in keeping you on a fuel system that quietly starves your neurons. A 2022 study published in Psychological Science tracked cognitive outcomes in adults over 60 across different types of mental activity. Participants who engaged in genuinely unfamiliar skill-building tasks, learning an instrument, a new language, a new visual art form, showed measurable improvements in working memory and processing speed. Participants who stuck to familiar mental activities, even demanding ones, showed almost no cognitive benefit beyond what they already had. Almost none. And a separate 2022 study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that participants with the highest insulin resistance, even those who were not diabetic, had significantly less gray matter in the areas of the brain responsible for memory. 2 different research teams, 2 different mechanisms, the same conclusion underneath both of them. Your brain is being starved of the signal it needs to grow. And the 2 things most responsible for that are mastery and metabolic rigidity. Before I go further, let me explain something. The concept is metabolic flexibility. In your body, this is the ability to switch between burning glucose and burning fat depending on what is available. But your brain has a version of this too. It is the ability to shift between automated processing, running familiar routines efficiently, and active problem solving, which requires recruiting new neural regions and forming new connections. Think of it like a hybrid car. If you only ever drive at a steady speed on a flat, familiar road, the backup engine never fires. It exists. It just has not been used in years. And an engine that does not fire eventually stops being able to fire. Most people over 60 have spent a decade operating almost entirely in automated mode. Same routes, same routines, same puzzles they have already mastered. The backup system is sitting there, waiting, slowly becoming unavailable. The reason this matters here is that both your mental habits and your metabolic habits are pushing you toward the same outcome by different routes. One is starving your brain of cognitive friction. The other is starving it of its most efficient fuel. Here is the mechanism behind the fuel problem. When you eat, particularly carbohydrates, your body releases insulin. While insulin is elevated, your brain is chemically prevented from accessing ketones, which are not just an alternative fuel source, but signaling molecules that trigger the release of BDNF, Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor. Think of it as fertilizer for your neurons, the compound most directly associated with new neural growth, memory consolidation, and resistance to cognitive decline. Standard dietary advice: eat every 3 hours, never skip meals, fuel your brain with healthy whole grains, keeps insulin elevated for most of your waking hours, which means your brain spends most of your waking hours chemically blocked from producing the one compound it most needs. That 3 in the afternoon crash, the heavy thoughts, the focus that just will not hold, that is often not a lack of energy. It is a lack of the specific neurochemical signal your brain requires to stay sharp. And the snack you reach for to fix it is the thing perpetuating the cycle. Now here is the part I need you to actually pay attention to. Put down whatever else you are doing for 30 seconds. Because this is where both mechanisms connect, and it is the piece most people never reach. Familiar challenge and frequent eating are doing the same thing to your brain by different routes. One is removing the cognitive friction that triggers BDNF through neural stress. The other is removing the metabolic window that triggers BDNF through ketone signaling. Most brain health advice addresses neither. It tells you to do puzzles and eat a balanced diet, which is the precise combination most likely to produce the outcome you are trying to prevent. I will be honest, when I first mapped this out, it was late on a Tuesday evening and I had to just sit back. Because the implication is not comfortable. The implication is that the habits people over 60 are most proud of, the ones that feel like discipline and self-care, may be the ones creating the most convincing illusion of protection. I call this the familiar challenge trap. Mastery feels like fitness. Efficiency feels like sharpness. But getting better at something familiar means your brain is using less glucose, recruiting fewer regions, requiring less adaptation. The very improvement you feel is the signal that the challenge has become too comfortable to drive growth. I can already see the comment someone is typing right now. But I'm retired. I've earned my comfort. Why should I deliberately make my life harder? I thought the same thing. But then I found a 2023 study from Harvard showing that purpose-driven struggle is the single highest predictor of cognitive longevity, ahead of diet, ahead of exercise, ahead of social connection. The brain does not preserve itself through ease. It preserves itself through demand. The cost of knowing this is real. It means you cannot relax into your routine and call it protection. You are responsible for your own cognitive friction now, just like I am. So here is what actually works. 4 specific things, beginning tomorrow. The first is the struggle window. Spend 15 minutes a day doing something you are objectively bad at. Not a harder version of something you already know. Something categorically new. A second language. An instrument. Pottery. Watercolor. If you are not frustrated, it is not working. The frustration is the mechanism. That is the sound of your brain being asked to do something it cannot yet do automatically. The second is sensory disruption. Brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Navigate somewhere new without GPS. Change your morning sequence. These feel trivial. They are not. They force your brain out of automated processing and back into active problem solving. The annoyance you feel is neurological evidence that it is working. The third is the 2 in the afternoon protocol. Eat 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with your largest meal, and keep that meal before 2 in the afternoon. After 2, your circadian biology changes how you process glucose. A heavy meal at 7 in the evening is sending the wrong metabolic signal to every clock in your brain simultaneously. Eat earlier. Eat with fat. Give your brain the window it needs to shift fuel sources overnight. The fourth is the 12-hour hard stop. If you finish eating at 7 in the evening, Nothing passes your lips until 7 in the morning. That 12-hour window is the minimum your brain requires to initiate autophagy, the cellular cleanup process that clears the metabolic debris that accumulates during the day. Most people who eat a late dinner and a morning snack never give their brain this window at all. As always, if you have a metabolic condition or are managing blood sugar issues, talk to your physician before changing your eating window. The mechanism is real. How it applies to your specific situation is a conversation for someone who knows your history. I do not know where you are watching this. Maybe it is late. Maybe you are in bed and the crossword is sitting on the nightstand right there. If you have made it this far, I think you already know this landed differently than the usual brain health content. Here is the one thing most people never hear, and I want you to pay attention to this specifically because it changes how all of the above actually works. The strongest predictor of cognitive flexibility gains in aging adults is not the type of novel activity you pursue. It is the social context in which you pursue it. New skills learned alongside people you have never interacted with before produce significantly stronger neural adaptation than the same skills learned alone. The mechanism is the simultaneous demand. Your brain has to manage social unpredictability, emotional reading, and skill acquisition at the same time. That combined load is the most powerful cognitive stimulus available to you, which means the most protective thing you can do for your brain is not just learn something new. It is learn something new with strangers. Think of the person in your life who has settled into a routine so familiar you can see them fading. A parent, a partner, someone whose world has quietly contracted over the last decade. Send this to them, not as a lecture, as an invitation. Save this video. The next time you feel the urge to reach for the comfortable, the familiar, the already mastered, you will want the distinction between cognitive reserve and cognitive flexibility close by. It is in your saved videos, bottom right of the screen. If you want to understand what is actually happening inside your brain, not the simplified version, the mechanism, subscribe. This is the level we operate at every week. Now that you understand how familiar challenge and metabolic rigidity are working against your brain simultaneously, you need to understand what chronic stress is doing to the same system overnight. Because there is a direct connection between the cortisol load most people over 60 are carrying and the rate at which cognitive flexibility declines. And that connection is why the fog keeps coming back even when you change your diet. That video is right here. Miriam stopped doing her crossword in English 3 weeks ago. She is doing it in French now. She spends 40 minutes on a single puzzle. She gets most of it wrong. She finishes her coffee before she is halfway through. She told her daughter it is the most alive her brain has felt in years. What is the one thing you have been avoiding because it felt too hard to learn at this stage of your life? Drop it in the comments. Not what you plan to do, what you have been putting off. That answer, the specific thing that came to mind before you could talk yourself out of it, that is exactly where you need to start.